So life update, I'm living in my car.
I don't want to hear shit that the economy is good right now. The economy is so good, oh my god, we're on the upward. No, we're fucking not.
I'm being evicted, and this was not a post I wanted to make.
I'm being evicted.
There's 4 million vacant homes right now in America today. You can literally give to someone. There's not shortage of housing in America. They're all over the place.
We are the richest country on the planet, one of the richest countries. Why does it look like ass?
Life in the last year has been hard for a lot of people, and it seems like it's getting harder as the cost of living constantly goes up, but yet pay is not, and the ability to just get out there on your own and earn. For young people, it is a struggle. For those just starting out, and even those in their golden years, they're finding it hard to survive. The cost of rent is up, cost of housing is up, cost of food is up, and a lot of people got caught off guard by it. Let's talk about it.
So life update, I'm living in my car. My little S10. This is me. It's my home for the foreseeable future. And yeah, I don't know what to do. And I don't really have anyone. I toured 2 apartments yesterday. I won't qualify for them because you have to make 2.5 times the over $1,200 rent a month. And I don't even make the rent a month. I've never been homeless before. But you know what? This is a really good story. Like, I can only go, I could go down, but like, I'm gonna go up from here. Cause then, like, I'm broke and homeless at 21. But like, that makes for such a good story. When I'm like super successful and rich and like doing so well and have so many people. I'm gonna have such a bomb starter story. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be like, I was broke and homeless at 21 and look where I am now. Boom. And it's gonna be...
That was heart-wrenching. I totally feel for her. I was almost in the same situation at the same age. You know, not having any money, nowhere to go, no guidance, no mentorship. The world looks like it's going to devour you. But you can go up from here. Many people, many billionaires and millionaires started just like this. The majority of them. And you can do it. It's just tough to see. The economy has just crumbled a lot of people's hopes. But it's all the way up from here. Comment down below your story, what you think about this, and maybe somebody can learn from your story also.
$6 for a bag of chips. Like, is this a sign that we're in an economic crash? $6 for a bag of chips. And we're in the high desert. This is supposed to be cheap. How much is it for these Funyuns? Probably about $6 too. $4 for a bag of Cheetos. 2 for $7. Everything here is expensive.
Hey, you guys don't have
Look at this. $6.30 for protein shake. Almost $2 for water. Crazy. Like,
you know, I remember when you used to get an entire meal for $4 or $5. You get a steak dinner for $8 or $9. A steak dinner, potatoes, nice steak, salad, a drink, even have something to tip the waitress. Is it just me, or does everything seem like it's super expensive? We'll put this chart up right here. The cost of Taco Bell, McDonald's, everything, 2017, 2018 versus now, astronomically different. I was talking about this 2 years ago, that all these good idea fairies and all these entitlement programs the government came out with to fund the cough, the recovery from the cough, and all these PPP loans, student loans, everything they're trying to put out there, these politicians, this is the result. They've watered down the money supply so much and pumped so many dollars into the system. And then they created all these good idea fairy wars all over the place. And this is the cost of it. The cost of everything is just going through the roof. And it's terrible for you. Everything he just showed right there is terrible for you. And that is the only thing people can afford. And even it is too expensive.
I don't want to hear shit that the economy is good right now. The economy is so good, oh my god, we're on the upward. No, we're fucking not. My tacos are $3.25 each right now. Each! They used to be $1.75. I just paid $12 for 2 fucking tacos in a medium horchata. I used to be able to get 2 tacos in a large horchata, hand them a $10 bill, and get change back. What the fuck? I don't want to hear.
There's 4 million vacant homes right now in America today. You can literally give to someone. There's not shortage of housing in America. They're all over the place. But the government says, oh, we have to build something new and we have to raise dollars and we need to make another rule and another law. It's not necessary, okay? Go to Dubai. Look how they're building over there. I go to New Jersey. I cross the river over there. It takes 7 years to build something.
So you think it's regulations?
100% regulation. And they should give incentives to a guy like me. I have 15,000 apartments. 1,000 of them are vacant right now. If they came to me and said, fill those units up, we'll give you no taxes on those 1,500 units. I'd fill them up.
I remember I used to get the number 6 at Taco Bell in college, and it'd be like $5. Now, $14. I got one the other day, $14. And if you want a little extra meat, another $3. And then they want you to tip at the window. I went to Subway the other day. While we're on it, I went to Subway the other day. I got a little sandwich, a little 6-inch sandwich, just the sandwich, nothing else. It was like $8. And then they wanted a tip on top of it. When did Subway start wanting a tip? Do they not pay the employees now? It used to, that was part of the sandwich. You bought the sandwich, they handed it to you, paid for it. Now, when you slide your card, they're like, oh, would you like to tip? And I'm just like, so how much is the sandwich? Is it 20% more, 30% more because of the tip? Or is it just a sandwich? Like, it's becoming, this customary tipping is getting bigger and bigger and bigger to the point where people just can't afford to do anything right now. Every time you leave the house, it's $100. If you got 2 meals, there's, 25. And then you throw a tip on top of it because everywhere wants a tip now. And I'm not hating on the servers. It's just the custom of a tip to ensure prompt service, like, It is wild. I mean, you're at, $30-40 just for a little lunch. I mean, I got 3 rolls with me and Samantha for sushi the other day with tip was $60. That's wild. I just don't want to go anywhere. I'll take my lunchbox around everywhere I go.
Everything's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Everything's okay.
I don't know. I feel for this guy. I feel his pain.
I'm being evicted, and this was not a post I wanted to make. I was hoping you all were never going to know about this, and now I'm sharing it because I don't know what else to do, and going to kind of turn to my viewers to ask for support. I've been living in my studio apartment for almost 7 years now. I've never missed a payment. I've only been late once, and that was just by a few days. I'm not able to make April's rent payment. It has, as of yesterday, I have received the default letter. And if I don't pay the rent plus the late fee by Friday the 11th, it will be turned over to legal. And a ton more fees, and the eviction process started. Never thought I would be in this situation, starting over again. I'm facing eviction.
Imagine being in your golden years, the years that you're trying to just sit back and enjoy life, but the cost of living has gotten so much they've robbed it from you. And I was talking about this 2 years ago. I talked about it during the condo crisis right now, where there's thousands of the elderly are getting pushed out of their condos that they had paid off because of rising HOA, condo association dues, insurance, maintenance, assessments. Now on everything else, if you have your house paid for, all of a sudden you start incurring some costs that you didn't know. Taxes started going up. Your insurance tripled. Insurance is going to push out so many of the elderly. It is baffling.
I just got to my second job, and when I came out my front door, I found this sitting on my welcome mat. To add to my stress in life, I'm being evicted. Melissa, and she couldn't even spell my name right. Your lease will not be renewed after this month. You need to vacate the property by May 16th. My number is blah blah blah. Or contact me online on Messenger as we have previously corresponded. If you have any questions, you will need to leave your apartment open and your keys on the counter. I will return your security deposit within 30 days. I have no money and nowhere to go. Being an adult is great.
I tell you, it is expensive to move. It's expensive to get an apartment because they need first month, last month, deposit, all these things. Admin fees, application fees, and that's how a lot of these landlords are recouping some of the costs. Now on the other end, the landlord's taxes went up, their insurance went up, across the board, everything has gone up. It's squeezing both sides. Not to mention the localities, the cities, the different ordinances that are coming in, you know, for taxes going up. Let me tell you this, code enforcement is after everybody for these stupid little fines. Didn't cut your grass, you parked this in the wrong place, fine, 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 fine. It is just wild how much it is to do anything right now.
Nobody else has the balls to say it. I'm gonna say it. You get paid on a Thursday. 2 days later, the money's gone. It all went to bills. And then 6 days later, you're negative $600 because 2 random bills came up that were 3 times more expensive than they were years in the past. And now you get paid again, but now you're negative $600 something dollars. So a third of your paycheck is now gone. And you have a business on the side, but the business on the side is struggling because everybody else is in the same position and nobody's buying shit. Does anybody else feel this way?
I see this on the regular. And to make it even worse, people are scared of the tariffs. They're afraid how in the future they're going to be able to survive as a small business or even buying real estate because WTF. I think the instability of how the knee-jerk reactions are happening to everything. You know, one thing about the market, any market in general, that the question mark is what people fear the most. You can't forward plan anything. You can't have any adjustment to the cost of goods because you don't know what that is. And if your margins are slim, well, any fluctuation in anything destroys your business or your future financial outlook. And a lot of people are running into this right now.
Here's my question. What are poor people supposed to be doing? Like, everyone's like, hey, you should be stockpiling because the cargo ships aren't coming into the ports anymore. So we're not going to be having any more products delivered to America. You know what I'm saying? And they're saying, stock up on all the essentials. Okay. I can barely afford the things that I need for this week, let alone stocking up. So what are the poor people supposed to be doing? Anyone?
I do wonder though, listening to my grandparents talk, survived the Depression, listening to my parents talk, my dad was a lot older when he had me, hearing about the 50s, the 60s, the 70s. Are we in a situation where what we think is poor versus not kind of, has it changed? You know, my house only had 2 plugs in it in each room, and they had a lamp and maybe a fan, or that was it. They didn't have cell phones, didn't have cable, didn't have Wi-Fi, they didn't have all the things we say we must have in today's society. Are we asking too much? Did the cost of everything go up so much? Like back in the day when you could have one source of income and live in a nice house and have a nice place to live. But the houses weren't 3,000 square feet. They weren't, for the most part, air conditioning. Like I don't even think air conditioning came in until like the 80s. They didn't have a lot of the things. They had one bathroom. They had, a lot of these things that we take for granted today. Is that a question, or is the cost of living just out of control? I mean, I remember I didn't even have a cell phone until I was like 18, and I was only allowed to use it for like 5 minutes. Now I have a $1,000 iPhone in my pocket, and it costs $200 a month or whatever it may be. Like, is that what is eating up a lot of our money, or do we not have an idea of frugality, or is the cost just going up? Comment down below on that. I would like to hear a diverse answer to that. I'd like to hear some argument. That's how we learn from each other, a little discourse. I think it's a little of both. It's a little of everything.
So no one is saying the quiet part out loud, and I haven't seen anybody say this out loud, so I'm going to say it out loud. Once these tariffs go in and we see these price increases, that's going to be our new normal. The prices are not going to come back down. I don't for the life of me seeing that if/when these tariffs go away, corporations are going to willingly lower the prices back because they're going to have a new baseline for what their record profits are. So if they increase the prices on goods that we're receiving today, they're not going to decrease. It's just because tariffs are going away. And I feel like we've seen this with COVID. When like prices go up, they don't come back down after the crisis, and like things have not returned back to normal, at least for me. Like I'm noticing that the same items that I was buying about 5 years ago are like have a % increases when I go to buy those same items. And another thing is I saw somewhere that like phone companies are also putting tariffs on stuff. And for me, it makes sense if I'm buying like a physical device, like a phone, an AirPod, or whatever the device is, to have to pay a tariff on it. But if these tariffs are going on like voice lines, like voice calling, texting, that just kind of speaks to the greed. And that just kind of reaffirms my belief that like once these tariffs go in, those are going to be our new normal prices. And I don't for the life of me see corporations raising the wages of everyday people to kind of account for these increases. So like people are going to continue.
Here's my thoughts on this. She's right. Same way during the cough. I always said the price is not going to come back down. It'll just go up slower, okay? When you look at what inflation is and they say, oh, you know, we were at 4, we were really at 10. They're like, we need to get 3% inflation. We need to get to 3% inflation. That was the goal. That meant it went up from that point at 3%. It went up slower. It'll never go back down. We'll never see the dollar menu again, okay, from what we used to see. It will just see the $1.30 slower. Okay, the $2 slower. I hope this makes sense. The price of these companies from China is 15 now, and the Americans is at 10. We're going to probably see the Americans adjust their price to 14 because capitalism. This is what happens when you mess with the market. And I've said this in real estate until my eyes bled, okay? That if you mess with the market, it will do funny things. You can't take capitalism and political bureaucracy and play with the market. Anytime you put restrictions over here, the gap will get filled somewhere in the power vacuum. And that's exactly what we're seeing right now. A lot of these companies are adjusting the port of entry on a lot of these products. Yeah, they were made in China. They went to France. Last screw got put in. They got shipped out of Spain. They're coming to the port of New York, and they went around the whole system. You can't jerk the system that fast. You create a real ripple effect. And then what are companies going to do when they see 125% change in a company? They're going to lay people off. And that's what we're seeing across the board. Now, some of these companies had thought to lay off a long time ago. This just sped it up. I don't want to sound like I'm one or the other. What I'm trying to say is prices are going to go up and not come back down again. The only way to reduce the price is to change supply and demand, change the money supply, refinance it somehow, pump dollars in, give stimulus checks, or get rid of income taxes for the majority of people. But we're looking at a system where 45-50% of people don't pay income tax to begin with. This is such a complex subject that you can't say if this then that. There is a big array of knobs and dials to talk about here. But I think she's got a hint of truth in what she's saying. The cost of everything in a house comes from China or overseas. Sheetrock, Romex, screws, nails, shingles, you name it. Unless you can drive oil prices to the floor and make things cheaper as far as transportation, and maybe it works out in the math or in the aggregate. But if you do that, you're going to hurt all the oil companies, which is everybody's 401ks. It is a wild subject.
My checking account balance were to ever get beneath 4,000, like that is when I would start to panic.
I'm not saying I don't have enough money in my checking account at this moment to buy something off the dollar menu. But if I were going to buy something off the dollar menu, it would probably be in my best interest to check my checking account before doing so.
Well, my wife had to go back to work after our second kid, which sucks. And now we're coming up on finding daycare. So went and toured this one that we loved. A little bit of unfortunate news. When she told me the price over the phone, I thought, wow, that is fucking crazy. But if we absolutely had to make it work and it's the right place, we'll check it out. Well, the bad news is I thought that was for both our kids. But since we have a 3-year-old, yeah, that'd be $2,025 a month for him. And for our infant, oh, just tack on another $2,470. $4,400 a month for our children to be in daycare. Go f yourselves, America.
One hits home right here. Me and Samantha, day one, when she got pregnant, we got on every waiting list for childcare we possibly could find. To this day, we've never been called back. Not to mention, for an infant, it's astronomical. With the population decline in America, like, we are not at replacement rate. Neither is Japan, Korea. Go down that rabbit hole, and it is scary how the population is imploding. The only reason why America is what it is because of immigration. Now, if we throw in childcare costs, how do they expect any of us to be productive during the day if we can't have a place for our kids? How do you expect people to have kids and have careers? We already have to have 2 incomes to survive for most people, and it's not making any sense. And they're like, oh, we'll give you a child credit on your taxes. That doesn't pay for anything because the cost of childcare is going through the roof because nobody's got childcare. And that brings me to the school system. Most of the school system is to provide a place for us to put our kids from in the morning to the afternoon. That's why when it snows or a hurricane or anything in the state of Florida, if it sniffles outside, they close down school. And when they do that, the whole city shuts down because nobody has a place for their kids. Most places have to let their employees go home, pick up their kids, and stay at home for the rest of the day. Nothing gets done. It is mind-boggling how politicians don't try to conquer this. This and elder care is one of the main problems of production in our country, and nobody wants to talk about it. And what really strikes me is everybody will be old one day, but nobody wants to talk about elder care. Nobody wants to talk to politicians. It's like it's something nobody even wants to talk about, but you will be old one day. And hopefully everybody will have kids or wants to have a kid. But if you can't have a place for them that's safe and not crazy expensive, then people are not going to work. They're just going to stay at home and do the bare minimum. It's crazy.
I was thinking about this. We are the richest country on the planet, one of the richest countries. Why does it look like ass? Like, really think about that for a second. Like, when you're driving, if you're not in like Florida or California or the coast of like Oregon or whatever, it's like, this place looks like shit. And we have so much money. Like, I'm thinking of like Europe and Japan and all the architecture like across the world and how beautiful it looks. Why don't we have like rose gold fucking buildings, and like, why does the Kmart's and like all of the stores look like shit? Like, I don't know. I'm just thinking in my head, I'm closing my eyes and I can imagine like like, look at China, like Shanghai, like the coast, like all those videos you see. That's like, no joke, stunning, beautiful, high tech. You would think America would look like that with the amount of money that we have, but it just looks like, ugh, you know what I mean?
Corruption. That's why. Pure corruption. We spend billions of dollars on wars, other countries, rail systems that go nowhere, internet systems that go nowhere. The amount of money that has been wasted by the federal government is mind-blowing. They could have put a roof over every homeless person's head in America for what they spent to Ukraine. The Iraq War, the Afghan War, Vietnam, all these wars and places we had no business going to could have gold-coated the roads in most of these cities. Has anybody traveled abroad and seen some of the historic places that are abroad, and then you go down to name your city and it's potholes, crime, the fact that in America you have to say, I wish I could find a place to live that I don't have to worry about getting shot or mugged, or is the school good, or is there a place to work? Like, we have to fathom, like, why is it not safe? Why am I hearing gunfire? Why is it that the police force is quitting? Because it's just corruption. And I blame it on politicians. Politicians. They always say, well, if I had more money, we could fix this, instead of fixing it. And then the budget gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Have you ever had a sheriff say, I need a smaller budget because we solved crime? Have you ever heard the amount of money that's been spent fighting drugs, but yet we still have drugs? There are so many questions I have about this stuff. Corruption. Comment down below with what you think it is. But many of these budgets, I mean, we'll just look across the board, the amount of fraud, waste, and abuse that goes into every department of the government. They don't get in trouble if they don't produce. And yet they always ask for a bigger budget, and then they say we need to pay our fair share. We pay more now than we've ever paid in this country. It is wild.
I did not think we were cooked before. I just went to Walgreens because I needed deodorant, and then I had a coupon for mascara, and I'm running out of mascara, so I was like, great, I get $7 off if I buy 2 items from L'Oreal. So I got these and this and these 2 Dove deodorants. Guess how much it was before I used rewards? 68 US dollars! 68! If y'all thought we were not cooked before, we're fucking cooked now.
Real talk. So, is anyone else about to snap and just quit everything? Like, I cannot be the only one who was ready to, like, flip a table over, burn it all down, and just start fresh, right? I can't be the only one who's like this right now.
One of the number one things stolen at Target is female makeup. It's CVS across the board. It is getting so expensive just for a female to look nice nowadays, or to feel, you know, to have the things she wants. The disposable income is through the floor, and the price of this stuff is going sky high. This is mind-boggling, y'all. Comment down below.
How are we expecting people to rent when they have to pay first and last month's rent plus a security deposit? I have a family member, he's not on this app, and he is trying to get into an apartment complex, big corporate-owned apartment complex here in Tampa. 2-bedroom, 1 bath, 800 square feet, $1,600 a month. They have horrible reviews on Google. Not a great part of town, but it's what he can afford right now, and, you know, it's going to be, he knows it's a temporary thing. So he asked me if I'd be willing to co-sign on this apartment because this apartment complex is asking for first and last month's rent plus a large security deposit. And I said, no problem. I'd rather you take that money that you would normally have to apply towards the application process to get moved in and instead focus on like buying yourself groceries when you get moved in and having the funds to set up your utilities and all the things. And I went ahead and submitted all the documents that they asked of me, which was 3 months worth of bank statements, our 2023 tax return, as well as copies of contracts and payments made from my clients because I'm a 1099 employee, to show them that basically if for some reason he weren't able to pay his rent, it would default to me, and including my social security number, so they'd come after me. No problem. I trust this family member wholeheartedly and have no issue doing that. So I submitted all those documents and they called him today. And yes, they are still asking for first and last month's rent and they are still requesting a security deposit. They lowered it. But let me just set the stage here. $1,600 a month is the rent. I provided them documentation to show that one of my clients, just one client that pays me in a month, would cover over 12 months of his rent. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying this because this is the level of absurdity we have reached. You have someone that's co-signing to ensure that that apartment is paid for, that has proof, documentation, proof of funds to show that just one of my payments from one of my clients in a month that I provided a contract to show would cover his rent for the entire year. And yet that's not good enough to waive a security deposit or still make him pay first and last month's rent. What are we doing? Like, why are we making Gen Z like not be able to have a place to live? This is absurd.
As a real estate professional, real estate agent, and real estate investor, I can answer this. The cost of owning rental real estate is going through the roof, okay? Insurance is a nightmare, especially on the Gulf Coast of Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, like anywhere along the Gulf Coast is doubling, tripling. It's all over the place. If it's an Airbnb, even worse. I'll talk about it in another video. Having a bad tenant is one of the scariest things that any landlord can have. So the problem is they've gotten so picky to make sure this stuff doesn't happen that they want to know everything. And then they stack on the admin fees, and then they got to pay somebody to go through all these documents. Then they got to pay for the lawyer. They got to finance the eviction into all this, to the point where it is, the tenant laws are constantly changing too. Evictions, things like that. The amount of properties that are getting destroyed, and the cost of everything is just going up. And so they're doing this. This is where we're at. Between bureaucracy, the cost of inflation of everything, tenant laws, everything has forced this to happen. Now, everything in these big apartment complexes is corporate. Nobody's able to make an on-the-spot decision. Now, she mentioned her contracts as money. Contracts can be canceled. What all of them want are W-2s. They want to show you're employed. They just want information from an employer, and you can get fired from that or quit too. And then you don't have the money to cover the note. And that's why they're going to where they want, 2.5 times, 3 times rent as far as income to say, can you pay for it? Because power bills are going up. Water is going up, trash is going up, everything is going. The refrigerators now, tariffs, okay, they're more expensive. You got to replace those every, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. The throughput on some of these properties, cost of carpet, everything. Half that stuff comes from China now. Everything's going up, 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 up. Now, the way an apartment is priced, okay, everything in an apartment complex, commercial real estate, is cash flow. You up the rent, you up the value of the property. So what they do on all these is they keep upping the rent every year to the point where one day they can either refinance this giant apartment complex out, or they can sell it in a portfolio to somebody else, okay? And then these corporate, REITs, hedge funds, they just keep making these things make more and more and more money. And that's where we're at. This is going to continue to happen. When politicians try to protect tenants, the ripple effect is they become more selective. These landlords become more selective, and they pass it on to the renter. Okay, anytime this happens, other than more inventory coming on the market, more opportunities for that renter to go somewhere else, and that vacancy scares landlords more than anything else. And if there is competition somewhere else, they'll go there and they won't go here. But the fact that politicians, the tax code, everything, the government, everything involved has inflated the rental market so much that there is no competition, and these landlords can do this to people. And do I think it's right? No, but that's what's going on here. It's very sad.
This is absurd.
Hi there. Let's talk about this number right here. This is how much debt I have. I'm about $180,000 in debt from both federal and private student loans, my car loan, credit cards. That is all of my debt. I am 24 years old. I have a bachelor degree, so not even a master's. I have 1 minor, no focus in my major, as well as an honors degree, which did require some extra credits. So that is where this number is coming from. This is on top of the little amount of scholarships that I was awarded, so money I didn't have to pay back. This is everything I owe. Everything I owe. I came out of college in June of 2024, and I did not look at the debt that I was accruing. I took out loans as I needed them each year for college, and I didn't really think about what the percentages meant because I was never taught financial literacy. I didn't think about what the realistic number was going to be that I would have to owe each month on these loans, and they are astronomical, I will say. Sally Mae, which is my private loan creditor, wants $1,800 a month from me. That's just Sally Mae. I am right now in a grace period for 12 months where I only have to pay $1,033 to Sally Mae. I would not be able to afford the $1,800 a month if I wasn't able to get it down for 12 months. I don't know what I'm going to do in 11 months, but this is just me talking about it. On top of that, I owe about $287 to the federal government per month. That's not changing. And I owe $202 for my car payment, and that's not even including the $150 or $60 that I owe each month for the car insurance or my credit card payments. That doesn't include any of that. So, alone, Sally Mae wants $1,800 from me.
Whew, I feel for her. Number one, and if you're a parent out there and you've got a young kid, never take out excessive non-bankruptable money. Okay, never get a loan that is not bankruptable. And that's what these student loans are. Go watch my student loan videos. I talk about this in detail. She is cooked, okay? And I feel for her. I feel wholeheartedly for her situation. She's got a lot of non-bankruptable debt. She's not making enough money to pay this down. She's got a car note. She's got insurance, which I don't know if you're like me. My insurance has doubled in the last couple of years, 3 or 4 years. I have a perfect driving record. I drive an old truck, okay? And it has gone up excessively, okay? The cost of all these cars have gone up. Maintenance has gone up. Try taking something to the shop now. You know, I blame the system a little bit, one, for making these predatory loans to these young people. There's no appraisal or auditing process to make sure that your degree is even worth it and you can actually pay this money back. They basically baked these kids into a loan that is 7, 8, 9, 10% that the government has binded your labor to. See, loans are either secured or unsecured. At least a secured loan, a house, it's secured by the house, okay? The mortgage is secured by the house. And the federal government figured out a way to secure it with your soul, your labor. You can never escape it. And this will follow her. I totally feel for her. Comment down below. We gotta educate our young people. We gotta stop brainwashing everybody into you must get a college degree when there's trades out there that are great. Go in the military, do whatever, get grants, look for scholarships. Most states have a scholarship program if you make a certain GPA. Do good in school, get that. But if you're not going to an in-state school, paying with cash, or have some type of, you know, system to pay, you know, GI Bill, etc., don't do it. Go into sales, learn how to do stuff with your hands, start a business. This is not the way.
All right, so why do you think so much Americans are broke? Like, I'm an immigrant from Jamaica. I know you can't hear my accent right now, but eventually y'all can hear it. Why do you think so much Americans are living paycheck to paycheck? What's the number one cause, y'all think? Comment below. It's debt. Debt is the number one thing that keep Americans, you know, living paycheck to paycheck. And in order, simple math, in order for you to have a good life in America, you got to stay out of debt. All right, you got to live below your means. And you gotta stay away from the shiny new toy. You know, me and my wife, we bought a 2020 Dodge. You know, we have pretty good credit, so we could get anything we want. But we got a used car, you know, and it does the job. So stay out of debt.
So true. What I was just saying, debtor is slave to the lender. That is the shackles to you never being able to walk away, chase a dream, go van life, go do whatever you want to do. Is you are slave to your job, because if you lose it, you lose everything. Credit card debt, student loans, mortgages, all these things keep you on the conveyor belt for the rest of your life. Life gets easy when you pay off your house, you got no credit card debt, you got an old truck sitting out there, and money in your pocket. Life is easy. But we have baked everybody into the next fancy thing, the shiny object, the fancy clothes, all this marketing, consumerism, and when being frugal and not having to have so many things is the way to go. No debt, emergency fund, money in the bank, owning some appreciating assets, that's the way. So comment down below what you think. Am I right? Am I wrong? You argue with each other in the comment section. Let's get some discourse going. But we can't have debt. We got to get off this debt conveyor belt in the United States and everywhere in the world. If you're watching this anywhere in the world, comment down below with where you're watching this from. Don't do debt. And I know it's hard when you're young. Sometimes you got to live in a cardboard box. I lived in a metal can in Iraq for a long time saving my money, okay? I know what it's like. You can do it. You don't have to have student loans. You don't have to have credit cards. You don't have to pay for debt. I had a truck that my dad gave me when I was 15 years old. It was an 81 GMC. I drove it cross country 4 times. I drove it until I was in my 30s. Everybody made fun of me, but you know what? I was socking away that money I would have been paying in a car payment every month. Until one day I paid cash for the truck I wanted. And it was no thing. I didn't deal with the loan officer. I didn't deal with lenders. I paid cash for it and I walked away and I got it cheaper. So comment down below. I'll see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This was interesting. Let's see what's on the next one.